Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Friday, the end of the week, right? March 7th. So, what are we going to talk about today? Probably the biggest thing I hear is how do I get started? And where do I start? So, you got how do I start? Where do I start? And what tools do I need? Seems pretty straightforward, right? Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday, right? For most of you, you have the weekend off. This is the end of the week. So today is March 7th, 2025. And the discussion I'm going to have today is, and I could use your input to help some of these guys out that are just getting into it, of where do I start and how do I start? The how and where are probably the simplest things. And I'm not meaning the simplest things to come up with. I mean the simplest things that we do when it comes to repairs. The place to start and the time to start is now. There's no better time than right now to decide to dive in. And what you're going to do in this period is decide, do I want to keep this as a hobby? Just something to tinker on my own stuff? Do I want to do it part-time to supplement my income? Or am I looking at full-time? But you can't go from 0 to 60 in a second, right? You have to start somewhere. So the best way to start, if you don't know whether you want to do it just as to tinker on your own stuff for a hobby, part-time or full-time, is to just start doing it. And well, I hear, well, how do you do that, Eric? Well, I can tell you, I'm not sure about your neighborhood, but my neighborhood, which is rural New York, people are constantly giving away junk lawnmowers, junk chainsaws, junk weed eaters. And you probably have one or two of your own with about 2 inches of dust on it out in the shed, out in the garage. So that's as good a place as any to start, right? And what I would do is I would clear a nice clean workspace. And I don't mean spotless. I mean lay out some paper towels so that you can see the parts and they don't get lost in your bench. But start by taking the first part you take off. Let's say you're going to start with the air breather to the carburetor. Put the first thing you take off the furthest away and work your way back towards you. And why am I saying that? That's teaching you the same way I taught myself of how to do things. Because I could tear things apart real easy, but when it came to putting them back, I'm like, nah, not a chance. So I developed where I started setting the furthest thing away, being the first thing I took off, all the way to, and then when it came to the actual carburetor, I did the same thing. You know, when you take the screw out of the top, set that down first, set the cover, the gasket, so forth. So that you know how it's supposed to go back together. That's when and how. You don't have to look far. Somebody, if you put out on your Facebook to your friends, family and friends, looking for POSs, pieces of crap, that you may have lying around in your shed or garage, could you please let me know, because I'm looking for something to work on to start my journey into becoming a small engine repair mechanic. Don't be surprised if your whole front yard is covered with garbage of all your family and friends that decided, hey, this is where I can get rid of this crap that has been sitting in the shed or the garage for years. But that's the big thing, is people keep putting it off on when to start. And the longer you wait, the further down the road you're going to be trying to accomplish the same goals. And you could do it while you're working a full-time job, just puttering at it after work at night and on weekends. And for many, with doing this actually has a calming effect. It kind of winds them down as they're working on this stuff. You don't need a lot of tools either. You probably got everything you need in that garage or your little tool shed. Most of your things are half inch, are quarter-inch drive. A good quarter-inch drive of metric and SAE will handle almost anything. If you're working on handheld blowers, trimmers, and that, you're going to want a torque 27. It's common. I got the long handle ones, so you can just grip it and turn it. You can add these tools. They aren't that expensive. Whether you deal with Harbor Freight, eBay, Amazon, or Temu. You can get the torque bit sets pretty reasonable without breaking the bank. And if you don't have any money, if you're a youngster saying, well, I don't have any money right now. Well, when I was a youngster, I was pushing a lawnmower, so I was making money. And I was shoveling snow, and I was raking leaves. I was honestly doing anything I could to make $1. But let's say that you're not super ambitious, and you still want to get into it. Repairing other people's stuff could be just your niche. Something that you enjoy to do, and it makes you extra money. Now, understand that you're in a different place than what I was when I first started. When I first started, people actually took care of their stuff and valued them as an investment. Where I think today a lot of the new generations are just throwaways. That they don't want to have to deal with a repair guy or dropping it off here, having it picked up. It's your older people. And be careful about looking at your hometown mechanic or getting online here on Facebook and you're looking at these guys or gals, because I've seen just as many gals as I have guys that are excellent mechanics. Knock things out like there's nothing to it. And Jason and Travis can attest to this. And a few of you other guys that are mechanics can attest to this. I don't classify myself as a mechanic. I really don't. I'm a business person, and I know just enough to get me into trouble. But if your goal in life is to become a really good mechanic, these guys will tell you it takes time, it takes experience, it takes making mistakes and learning from your mistakes. So to look at somebody like Jason, sorry to pick you out, Jason, and you're just starting out, and Jason's been at it for probably 25, 30 years anyways. You're not comparing apples to apples. Because you don't know what he's gone through to get to where he's at. And you can't assume that it all came easy either, because most mechanics I know have busted their hump to become good at what they're doing. And they take pride in their work. That's another thing that I see kind of falling on the wayside, is owning your work and taking pride in your work. And if you hear a mechanic, and you're not a mechanic if you do this, you work on a customer's machine and it comes back because it's the same problem that you were aware of, that you didn't fix, and you say it's not my problem, you're not a mechanic. You're not taking, and I'm trying to think of the right word. I just had it. Taking pride in your work. As an owner, a business owner, if you have mechanics working for you, don't push them so they're trying to get stuff out of the shop at, you know, super fast rates. It's not that I wouldn't want it either, but my feeling is if you push mechanics too hard and too fast, they're gonna miss things, and at that point, it's on you more than it is the mechanic. But in order to look at a good mechanic, you have to understand that they've got years of experience, and that's the way we work, right? The more experiences we go through in that particular area, hopefully the better we become. Hopefully. Unless you're like me with memory problems where you can keep doing the same frickin' thing. But look, everybody has to start somewhere. And the best part is I've been learning a lot from you guys. You know, we all have a great time, and nothing is said to demean anybody. And the comments have been super on some of my repairs and welding and stuff. But that's just it, you know. You have to be willing to try and fail, and then take where you failed and figure out why you failed. Somewhere something didn't go right. What did I miss? Or what didn't I do that I should have done? Or what did I do that I shouldn't have done? If that makes any sense. Sometimes putting a carburetor back together for a chainsaw and forgetting one of the gaskets, or not realizing one of the gaskets got pinched so that it can suck air, that machine will never run right. How do I know? Because it's happened to me in the past. I have forgotten to put gaskets in, and I have pinched gaskets. And like Jason is saying, you know, because I always try to peel it off, you know, with my hand. And Jason helped me by saying, use a razor knife and go slow and easy. How do I know that? Because Jason taught me that. If you have your ears open and you're listening to other people, they will help you. Most people want to help other people. That's just our makeup. But I know from being a boss, being good at what I'm doing in certain areas, if you get that know-it-all that won't shut your yap and won't listen, you're not going to get the help that you really need. Just shut up, Buttercup, and listen to what other people are telling you. And if you're listening, somebody's going to tell you, you screwed up here, and this is how you correct it. I've learned from Claude, I've learned from Jason, from Travis, you know, about how our shop should look. I mean, I'm open, and I continue to stay open, because I know that there's so much more to learn that I haven't learned. And hopefully I am helping you guys, with business, with, you know, laughs, what have you, entertainment. But you got to start somewhere, and that somewhere is now. Because if you keep kicking that can down the road, pretty quick, you may not be able to do it. See, even with me and my challenges of memory, I'm still trying. I'm not willing to give up. I have to learn new ways of doing things, but I'm still at least in the fight of trying to learn. And if things don't go your way, don't quit. figure out what didn't go your way. And it may be you're a good mechanic, but you suck at customer service. I've seen that so many times. Can we say Claude? You gotta have finesse for customer service. Granted, some people like, here it is, and deal with it. Other people like to be explained about what you did in the parts. Other people, will question everything you do. And you have to come back at them, each one of them. You're going to learn how to come back at each one of them differently, depending upon who that individual is, right? Do you think we're born being good customer service people, good business people, good mechanics? No, but we're born with the ability to learn how to become. All right? Just think about that. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. But the main point of today's video is, so many people ask me, when is the right time? Today is the right time. What do I need to get started? Ask your friends and family on Facebook if they have something kicking around in the garage. Good chances are you have something kicking around the garage that needs to be fixed or has been sitting for a long period of time, is going to need some attention. And that's where you start. Maybe it's driving home from work and you see something on the curb. Or you're out riding your bike if you're a youngster and you see something on the curb that says free or please take. That's where you start to work on stuff. And like I said, be careful when you put a post on Facebook to your friends and family saying you're looking for, small engine stuff to work on, because you may wake up to a whole yard full of garbage. They figured out where to get rid of their stuff. Don't worry about whether you want to be doing it as a hobby, part-time, or full-time at this point. We're just talking, jumping in and trying it to see if this is something we enjoy doing. And like I said, for a lot of people, it's how they wind their day down. If they have a stressful day, coming home and puttering with a small engine to see how it works or to get it working is relaxation for them. And for those people, to take it and make it your job a lot of times isn't what they're looking for, because to make it into your job now takes something that you're enjoying and relaxing to something that you're stressing about having to do. So, that's why I say don't worry about where you want to end up. You need to start now. Tools, you don't need a lot of tools. I would say most of you have the tools you need already in your garage or your shop. A Torque 27 with a handle on it is super wicked handy. 1/2-inch standard set, screwdrivers, 1/4-inch set and metric and SAE. I use those the most. Even on snow blowers, I use my 1/4-inch set probably the most. Next would be 3/8. But 1/4 is where I use the most. Adding stuff to your shop can come as you work on other people's stuff. As I mentioned with Jason telling me about the razor knife, get yourself a razor knife with some razors to work on gaskets in your shop. I already had one that I used for taking and putting new registrations on the truck. And that's all I thought they were good for until Jason mentioned it. See, there's a lot of tools you probably already have if you just look. And you can buy a chintzy, what I call a chintzy set from Harbor Freight. They cover your 1/4, 1/2, 3/8 in your sockets. deep wells, shallow wells, a good set of hand wrenches. I use the ratchet wrenches probably more than I do the standard set. If I'm trying to break something free using two hand wrenches, usually bigger ones, I don't want the ratchet handle to snap, so I use the conventional one. But as you learn more and you're doing it to make a few bucks on the side, you can add more and more tools to your arsenal. I guess is what I'm trying to get across. So, when, now, where, your garage, shed. Tools needed, minimum quarter, 3/8, hand wrenches, screwdrivers, torque 27. And on that note, you guys have a great Friday. Start today.